Ultraman from Earth-3. This isn't just Superman with a goatee and a bad attitude. Ultraman is Superman's complete moral opposite, born on a world where good and evil are reversed. On Earth-3, the crime syndicate rules with an iron fist, and Ultraman stands at its head as their most powerful enforcer. Unlike our Superman, who draws strength from Earth's yellow sun, Ultraman is powered by kryptonite, the very substance that would kill his heroic counterpart. This fundamental difference in power source reflects his twisted nature. Where Superman uses his abilities to protect the innocent, Ultraman uses his to dominate and destroy. He sees weakness as something to be crushed, mercy as a character flaw, and compassion as a disease that must be eliminated. Ultraman's origin mirrors Superman's in the cruelest way possible. He was still sent from a dying Krypton as a baby, still raised by human parents, but everything that should have made him good instead made him evil. His adoptive parents taught him that might makes right, that the strong have the duty to rule over the weak. This isn't a Superman who fell from grace. This is a Superman who never had grace to begin with. What makes Ultraman truly terrifying isn't just his power level, which rivals or exceeds our Superman's, but his complete lack of restraint. He's committed genocide for sport, destroyed entire civilizations because he was bored, and turned his Earth into a fascist nightmare where hope itself is a crime punishable by death. He represents the darkest possible answer to the question, what if Superman never learned to be good? But Ultraman is just the beginning. Let's talk about Injustice Superman, a version that started as a hero but became something far worse than any villain he ever faced. This Superman's fall began with a single devastating moment. The Joker tricked him into killing Lois Lane and destroying Metropolis in one horrific act. The psychological trauma of that moment shattered Superman's moral foundation completely. Unable to cope with the guilt and rage, he decided that the only way to prevent such tragedies was to rule the world with absolute authority. No more crime, no more war, no more chaos. Just his version of perfect order, enforced through fear and overwhelming power. Injustice. Superman established a global regime where dissent meant death and freedom was sacrificed on the altar of security. He didn't just defeat villains, he executed them. He didn't just stop crimes, he prevented them by controlling every aspect of human life. This version shows us how easily good intentions can become tyrannical nightmares when combined with unlimited power and broken judgment. What makes Injustice Superman so chilling is that he genuinely believes he's still the hero. In his twisted mind, every act of brutality is justified because it serves the greater good. He's convinced himself that ruling through fear is better than allowing the chaos of freedom. This isn't a villain who revels in evil. This is a hero who has become evil while still thinking he's saving the world. The Injustice storyline doesn't just show us Superman's fall. It shows us how that fall corrupts everything around him. Heroes become enforcers, allies become enemies, and the very concept of justice becomes twisted beyond recognition. It's a masterclass in how power without accountability inevitably leads to corruption, no matter how pure the original intentions might have been. Next, we need to discuss Superman Prime from DC 1 million, though his evil incarnation is far more complex than simple villainy. After living for thousands of years and accumulating power that defies comprehension, this version of Superman has become something beyond human understanding. He's witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, watched everyone he ever loved turn to dust, and accumulated so much cosmic power that reality itself bends to his will. The tragedy of Superman Prime isn't that he became evil through corruption. It's that he became evil through isolation and the weight of infinite time. Imagine living for millennia, watching humanity repeat the same mistakes over and over again, seeing civilizations you helped build crumble into nothing. That kind of existential burden would break anyone, even Superman. This version has moved beyond traditional concepts of good and evil into something far more alien and terrifying. He doesn't see individual humans as people anymore. They're more like ants to him, temporary flickers of consciousness in his eternal existence. When he decides to reshape reality according to his vision, it's not out of malice, but out of a godlike indifference that's somehow even more frightening. Superman Prime represents the ultimate corruption of power through time and isolation. He's become a cosmic force that views mortal concerns with the same detachment we might view bacteria under a microscope. His actions reshape entire timelines, not because he wants to hurt people, but because their suffering simply doesn't register on his scale of existence anymore. It's a chilling reminder that immortality might be the cruelest curse of all, especially for someone who once cared so deeply about preserving life. But perhaps no evil Superman is more viscerally disturbing than Bizarro, though calling him evil oversimplifies his tragic nature. Created as an imperfect duplicate of Superman, Bizarro operates on a twisted logic where everything good becomes bad and everything helpful becomes harmful. He tries to save people by hurting them, tries to help by destroying, and genuinely believes his backwards actions are heroic. What makes Bizarro so unsettling isn't his power level or his destructive capabilities. It's the fact that he's trying to be good while causing unimaginable harm. He's a walking tragedy, a being whose very existence is a cruel joke, played by science gone wrong. When Bizarro saves a burning building, he might freeze everyone inside to death while thinking he's helping them stay cool. When he tries to stop crime, he might kill the victims while letting the criminals go free, all because his fractured mind interprets justice backwards. The horror of Bizarro lies in his complete inability to understand why people fear and hate him. In his mind, he's Superman, the hero everyone should love and admire. The disconnect between his intentions and his actions creates a nightmare scenario where good and evil become meaningless concepts. He's not choosing to be evil. He's incapable of understanding what evil even means. Moving deeper into the multiverse's darkest corners, we encounter Red Sun Superman, a version whose corruption comes not from personal trauma, but from ideological indoctrination indoctrination. This Superman's rocket didn't land in Kansas. It crashed in Soviet Russia, where he was raised to believe in communist ideals and the power of the state over individual freedom. Red Sun Superman isn't evil in the traditional sense, but his version of justice is terrifying in its scope and certainty. He genuinely wants to create a perfect world, but his definition of perfection involves total control over every aspect of human existence. He eliminates hunger, war, and crime, but he also eliminates choice, privacy, and freedom. Under his rule, humanity becomes a perfectly ordered machine where every person serves the greater good, whether they want to or not. This version shows us how cultural conditioning can twist even the purest intentions into something monstrous. Red Sun Superman believes he's creating paradise, but he's actually building a prison. His subjects are safe, fed, and healthy, but they're also trapped in a system that denies their basic humanity. It's a powerful exploration of how different philosophical frameworks can lead the same person down radically different paths. The psychological complexity deepens when we examine Cyborg Superman, though his evil stems from a very different source than ideological corruption or temporal isolation. Hank Henshaw was once a man who admired Superman, but a cosmic accident destroyed his body and drove him insane with grief and rage. Using his scientific knowledge, he rebuilt himself as a cyborg and blamed Superman for every tragedy that had befallen. Cyborg. Superman's evil is deeply personal and rooted in very human emotions like jealousy, loss, and the need for revenge. He doesn't want to rule the world or reshape reality. He wants to destroy Superman's reputation and make him suffer the same way he has suffered. This makes him incredibly dangerous because his motivations are focused and his methods are calculated to cause maximum psychological damage. What makes Cyborg Superman particularly insidious is his ability to perfectly mimic the real Superman's appearance and powers while using them for devastating purposes. He's committed atrocities while wearing Superman's face, tarnishing the symbol of hope, and turning public opinion against the real hero. His evil isn't cosmic or philosophical, it's intimate and cruel, designed to wound Superman in ways that physical attacks never could. Then there's the twisted nightmare of Superman from Earth-2's apocalyptic timeline, where Darkseid's victory corrupted not just the world, but Superman himself. This version watched helplessly as his friends died, his world burned, and everything he fought to protect crumbled into ash and despair. The trauma of ultimate failure broke something fundamental inside him, turning his protective instincts into possessive obsession. This corrupted Superman doesn't want to conquer or rule. He wants to preserve what little remains of his world, even if it means destroying everyone else's. He's become a cosmic hoarder, collecting alternate versions of his dead friends and loved ones, trapping them in a prison disguised as paradise. His love has become toxic, his protection has become imprisonment, and his heroism has become a selfish need to never lose anything ever again. The brilliance of this version lies in how it explores the dark side of Superman's greatest strength, his refusal to give up. When that determination becomes twisted by grief and trauma, it transforms into something truly monstrous. He's not trying to be evil, but his inability to accept loss makes him commit increasingly horrific acts in service of an impossible dream. These corrupted versions of Superman serve as dark mirrors, reflecting our deepest fears about power, responsibility, and the fragile nature of heroism itself. From Ultraman's pure malevolence to Injustice Superman's twisted justice, from Superman Prime's godlike indifference to Bizarro's tragic backwards heroism, each represents a different path toward damnation. They show us that the line between salvation and destruction isn't drawn by power levels or abilities. It's drawn by choice, circumstance, and the strength to hold on to what makes us human. What's truly terrifying about these evil Supermen isn't their strength or their destructive capabilities. It's how recognizable their motivations are, how understandable their falls from grace become when we really examine them. Each one started with the same potential for good as our Superman, but somewhere along the way, they lost sight of what truly matters. Whether through trauma, isolation, ideology, or simple moral failure, they became the very thing they once stood against. The multiverse's greatest lesson isn't that power corrupts. It's that heroism is a choice that must be made again and again, every single day. Our Superman remains a symbol of hope, not because he's incapable of falling, but because he chooses not to fall, even when falling would be easier. These dark reflections remind us why that choice matters, and why the symbol on his chest represents something far more precious than we might have realized. Which evil Superman terrifies you the most? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the darkest corners of comic book lore.